The Plascon Color Design Awards celebrated designers using their work to improve the lives of others. This year's theme was Uplift, and the overall winner was Ayesha Danyal for her work on the Mitchells Plain Hospital. Katlego met with Ayesha to learn more about the innovative use of color in a healing environment.
Ayesha, take me through what the inspiration was for this entire project when you started off. Obviously, you had a mandate and you had to fulfill this. Where did that inspiration come from?
You know, usually the tendency is with projects of this scale to look at hospitals in the States or in Europe. But we drew inspiration from local health policymakers, clinicians, community members, doctors and nurses, and they were actually part of the design process and a part of the construction process. And the whole idea was to build on that vision that our client had, to produce a modern hospital that provided efficient and contemporary healthcare services, but that was based on local community needs and aspirations, and was in part setting a new precedent for South African healthcare design.
And of course, partly this was made possible by the Plascon Color Design Awards. What do you think has been the most positive impact of the awards?
We had school children and elders who actually created the artwork and were part of the design process, which you see in the hospital. So for them to be celebrated through this award actually gives them more of a sense of pride and ownership of the building.
Because a hospital building has very specific needs, designing the building itself can be challenging to architects. In this particular hospital, it has a surprising shape and structure with an emphasis on efficiency.
So Henk, take me through the concept and how you put it into action, especially knowing that you were dealing with a hospital that has its own particular needs.
We have relied to a certain extent on what is called a mandala plan. What the principles are is that it is a circular plan within which the different components of the hospital could be arranged, with the epicenter for vertical circulation of lifts and stairs located in such a manner that it would facilitate the most economic means of communication and movement of people within the building.
You know, I'm looking at these plans and already it seems a daunting task, so I can only imagine that there might have been a lot of challenges that you had to deal with in order to make sure that the concept came into fruition.
The building is located on the Cape Flats aquifer. So we had a design challenge to ensure that no stormwater that was generated on the site went into the municipal stormwater system and therefore just out to sea. It was the intention to capture the water and make sure that it was all generated back into the ground so as to recharge the aquifer.
Hospitals frequently come across as cold and sterile, and this project had a strong focus on being completely opposite. The hospital sits within a highly valued conservation area, and the habitat was carefully integrated into the project.
Henk, tell me about how you went about using nature as part of the healing process in the design of this hospital.
Well, I think one of the fundamentals that we were working with was the environment in which caregivers and patients would find themselves. So a lot of emphasis in the design of the building was to have a permeability from the building looking outside, so as to be able to get good quality light environment, but also if you're looking out to the outside world and you have an interface with it, it may as well be a beautiful one.
Now, there's a very friendly and positive interface that you experience when you get into the hospital. How did you go about choosing that?
Well, it's interesting that the word hospital and the word hospitality actually is derived from a Latin word called hospice. So in the design of this hospital, we wanted to put the hospitality aspect back into this institutional clinical stigma that's attached to hospitals. So we design interfaces like reception desks and the nurse station hubs, where there's a high interaction between staff and patients, as open and approachable and inviting and welcoming spaces, which could bring forward that aspect of hospitality.
And Henk, having been part of this project that was made possible by the Plascon Color Design Awards, what have you seen as the positive impact of it all?
Well, the award has given us an opportunity to showcase the building and the way in which Plascon paints have been used to great effect. Color is such an important component for use in the wayfinding system, but more importantly, it gives us an opportunity to bring a sense of brightness, dynamism to the interior environment for the benefit of the patient and the caregivers.
Plascon Double Velvet, the washable and stain-resistant paint, now with a 15-year quality guarantee. Plascon, paint with imagination.